So great. Okay. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Maker Faire and why it's important. And again, as most of you have been part of this, you should know that Maker Faire is a very powerful thing. It's one of the few events which is completely held together by the community, and it's one of the few events where people from very different interest backgrounds come together, share, learn from each other. Very interesting collaborations come about just because of the fair. And here are some of the stuff that we've been. So when we really started off in 2012, Eileen was one of the people who started this whole thing off. And we started off with what, 20 booths or something similar to that? 25 booths. And last year we had a total of 550 makers and 250 booths. And it's like, wow. You know, and it's amazing. It's literally an exponential growth over the last 4 years. And this is the 5th year, so I'm sure that we're looking at something awesome. We've got an awesome venue, so I'm sure that this is going to be something really cool. We saw a very nice growth in the number of attendees as well over the last 4 years. So last year we had about 10 to 12,000 people. And we also, one of the things that Maker Faire actually does is it acts as a catalyst for the development of maker spaces. So as Maker Faire, actually what happens is, you know, when Maker Faire started, I guess SL2, Hackerspace, these were some of the few places where makers and hackers and geeks could go and get together. But now we have roughly around 25 maker spaces. Most of the universities have some kind of a fab lab or a makerspace. Many of the crafting groups have started little co-working spaces and studios where people could come and work with. And I think some of these are as a result of Maker Faire because there is a demand for certain skills, certain attitudes that makers have, which I think the public finds it valuable. And this is definitely something that should grow because it's a very valuable thing to Singapore's ecosystem. For more details, look up the maker movement and its value to education and lifestyle, and I'm sure you can find tons and tons of information on why this is important. Okay, last year, what happened? I'm going to show a video, and this is going to be quite nostalgic to all those people who were here last year. So if you have not seen this, so this was this super hot, super crowded space we were all in last year.
Making is at its best when we make together. I may be good at dreaming up ideas, but not so good at putting the invention together. But you can do what I can't, and when you chip in with a perspective, you make my ideas even better. And that's the beauty of making together.
Self-directed learners. There's one thing we do in school a lot is we direct students to learn. What the magic happens when students direct themselves to find out about something. They're interested in something and they begin to pursue that. We have all that information online today, and it's what we need are motivated, self-motivated learners to go out and find how it helps them do something.
Really excited that Maker Faire is happening in Singapore for the first time. It would be a great opportunity for us to do many more such events, engage with community, inspire them to create new solutions, new technologies.
We are from the drone community and part of the Maker community as well. So I'm here to showcase some of my drone projects as well as some of the robotic projects that I've worked on.
The challenge with this product is to make something where you don't need any skill really, and you don't have any access to tools, and you don't have that much money either. You don't want to spend your money.
The main idea of DIY Bio is to cultivate greater interest towards science and knowing that science is not exactly as difficult as we think it is. And also not only to educate children but older people and have like intersectional, intergenerational groups all learning Bio at the same time.
I was with Makers Faire last year. I only have a booth, but this year I had a workshop. And through workshops, actually, I learned also things like how to coach old people.
What we have done is that we have actually donated or provided software free to all students and educators around the world. And as part of Maker Faire, we want to be inspiring the next generation of makers, designers, architects, engineers, digital artists.
Maker Faire is a DIY. Do it yourself. That's sometimes become selfish, sometimes become more individual. But we Singaporeans like make a group and doing it together and learning each other.
It was so huge and it was so much information and so much something cool and we're like, hey, can we build this? Yeah, let's do it.
The kind of wonder I see on their faces when they're looking at the stuff, when they're looking at the things around, when they're coming and saying, oh my god, we didn't know something like this is happening. That is my favorite part, that I'm able to educate them, I'm able to tell them, I'm able to tell them the benefits of joining this movement, this making movement.
All the projects are really, really awesome because it caters to the needs of a diverse range of people. You have kids trying out things, and you have parents, you have the elderlies,
The mood here has been awesome. I mean, it's amazing to see how enthusiastic people are about learning new things, about getting stuck in, getting hands-on, learning through doing.
Great. So that was last year's Faire, and of course, despite the heat, the lack of aircon, the food, and everything, it was fantastic, and I'm sure that every single person who took part last year really enjoyed it and wants to come back, and that's really great. So a little bit on people, we had about 12,000 people who attended Maker Faire last year, and a bunch of these people, most of them came in with their families, and about a fifth of them came in because they were looking for opportunities in education. So this could have been teachers or parents with kids, whatever, who were actually looking for ways in which to engage themselves as a family. Men, women out there, but so we had many people who were between 25 and 45. Bear in mind that most of them came with their kids, so likely it's not got a whole bunch of kids who didn't make the surveys, but yeah. So most people here come and say things to us like they got inspired so much, and it's such a good illustration of lifelong learning. And again, this is really something that we want to see. Okay, partners, again, we want to thank all the people who have been part of Maker Faire. So last year we had a whole bunch of community partners. Last year was the first year when we really actively recognized all our community partners. We thank our sponsors last year. We had Intel coming in, Autodesk, Idea Lab came as the co-organizer. And of course we have the makers. This whole fair would not exist without the makers. So yeah, and obviously anything that you make, as long as you get your hands dirty, you are a maker. So we've got Joyce who does tatting, we've got Priyanka who does paper quilling, we've got the whole bunch of guys from SUTD there who do stuff like drones and build their own 3D printers and things like that. Hi, come on in. You just missed the video, but you can Google it. Yeah. So again, as you go in, as you are a maker in Maker Faire, we will be putting up your profiles, and most of you have done this before, so you know how it works. We'll be putting up your profile in the blog. We'll be interviewing a few of you. So the sooner you let us know that you're participating, the more exposure you would get on the different kinds of media that we are going ahead with for Maker Faire itself. Press. Surprisingly, we had a whole bunch of press coverage last year. So this was some of the stuff that came in. Many of our makers, somehow the press liked to profile people rather than the fair itself. So actually we had a lot of profiles of individual makers. Like Zizu, she's a clay artist. She got picked up by the press. Davy also got picked up. But I don't know if this is the first year or the second year that Zizu got picked up twice. Twice or so, yeah. So, sometimes, so what we usually do is once we get information on the makers, we would give it to the PR company and they would give as many profiles or good profiles to the press, and the press would just pick whoever they're interested in to work with. So, I think Shinki, you were there as well, right? In some Chinese paper. Yeah, I know. Remember that one. Okay. Yeah. So the question now is, how do you take part in Maker Faire? So we've got several options actually. So the best is, not quite the best. So the simplest way to take part is to sign up as a maker. So essentially, it's free to participate. There are no fees involved. We would be giving you 1 to 2 booth spaces for the 2 days. the table measurements, we will put it up on the sign-up form so you know exactly how to plan for. Typically, the area is about 2 meters by 2 meters with a table, a couple of chairs. If you need extra space, let us know. We can work with it, around it, whatever it is. Okay, and makers are free to give workshops and presentations during the fair, again indicated in your form. The commercial maker are people who are makers, but who also sell their products. So Priyanka, Gladys, you guys have come in as commercial makers before. So Priyanka, for example, makes jewelry and quilt artifacts. So she sells them along with teaching people, and it's possible to do that. Again, you can go for 1 to 2 booth spaces, and the cost is $50 per booth for 2 days. And yes, commercial makers can also do workshops and presentations as part of their sojourn at Maker Faire. Okay, vendors, you're a vendor if you are selling things that you have not made. For instance, if you are reselling a robotics kit or something like that, or you're reselling this kind of stuff, you are considered a vendor, and you already should have an existing business. Again, we can give you a maximum of 1 to 2 booth spaces for 2 days, and the fee is slightly higher than a commercial maker. It's $100 per booth for the 2-day period. We really encourage you guys to come in as a community partner. Okay, I'll tell you why it's advantageous to both of us. If you come in as a community partner, what basically means is you're curating a minimum of 5 booth spaces, a maximum of, I don't really care. You let us know how many booth spaces you want to take up, what's the area that you need, the number of tables, the number of chairs, and you figure the rest of it out. Okay, so that kind of makes life a little easier for us. And the good thing is, of course, we would work with you. So later we would go on a recce of the space, so we would also work with you to get the best possible locations, which would make the space that we're having most visible and stuff. And also we would kind of combine you as a community partner, so your logo will be on the banner, on the website and stuff like that, so you have a little bit more exposure. So if you are a community partner who comes as a group with makers and commercial makers, you would have to just pay the fee for the number of commercial maker booths that you're taking, so you can work that out. The other advantage of coming in as a community partner is if you want to step out for a while, take a look at the stuff, somebody is there covering for you and taking care of your space. We also have sponsorships for companies, so there is a sponsorship deck on site, so if at all anyone is interested or you know people who are interested, you can just direct them to the site. Okay, so what we would do for you is, like I said, if you come in as a maker, or as a community maker, or as a commercial maker, or as whatever it is, we will profile you as a maker. We would get in touch with you to get stories from you, who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing this, what motivates you, stuff like that. This would go as stories, definitely on the Maker Faire blog. Probably some of these stories would get pitched to the media as well. Make sure you send us the information as early as possible. The closing date for maker submissions is 30th of April this year, because the fair is slightly earlier than last year. So make sure to send us the information, so the sooner we have the information, the sooner we can put it out as well. If you're coming in as a community group, again, you can highlight within yourself interesting projects, you can just go up. So try to, if as much as possible, give us as many details as you can, so that it makes it easier for us. Photos, videos, things like that also are good. We would also publicize your booth and whatever workshops in our Facebook and event listings. We have a good mailing list, a good database of previous attendees that we can also send this information to. If you are a community partner, we would include your logo in the partner's banner in our website. And we would also be having a sign on your booth saying this is yours, what you are, what kind of work you do, etc., etc. So again, the more details you have, the better we can do this. What you can do as a maker, the closing date for maker submissions is 30th April, but we would try to accept makers much earlier than that, because again, we have worked with most of you before, so we know in principle that you're in. If you go in, so you don't really have to worry too much about am I accepted or not. If you've come with us before and you've taken part in Maker Faire before, probably you will be accepted. And same thing, once we accept you, we will publicize straight away. So don't wait until 29th of April, midnight to put it up. So it has happened, so I'm just telling you this. We're also working with NLB this year to do roadshows to lead up to Maker Faire. We will be sharing details on what we're planning. So if you're interested, there is an option in the form called I would like to take part in lead up events, and you can just indicate, let us know when we would let you know. As you are working on your project, share it, put it on the social media, put in the Twitter hashtag, and yes, we would love to follow. And again, we will be checking the hashtag quite a bit so we can just share projects on our own stuff as well. Invite, spread the word out, get your friends and families to attend. The more people who come to the fair, the more people benefit. So that's always good to have that out. So location-wise, SUTD will walk around later. So SUTD has two entrances. There'll be entrance archways in both spaces, saying that this is Maker Faire. We'll be having footprints all over the place. So here is the booth spaces. We've got indoor and outdoor areas this year. I'm thinking of, because we had bike builders last year, we had yarn bongers, we had people doing things like welding and stuff like that. So outdoor spaces for people who are doing things which are not suitable for indoor locations. We've got this little dark area. I'm kind of thinking of putting a dark room in there, so people doing light painting, some LED displays that could potentially go in the dark area as well. We would be putting up booths along the walkways, so there'll be tentages that are put along the walkways for booths. Here's the main entrance. Most of you who came in must have walked through there. Another entrance actually here. And here is the main area. We'll walk down. There's the event going on, so you can get a feel of what an event would look like. So this is the entrance area. So we would be positioning the community partners and sponsors in the main area of the space. So again, still more shots of the main area. It's better to walk around. So here is a little garden-like area. Ignore, I don't know, Ignore was supposed to come today, but I think it's not here yet. If you're doing urban gardening, if you're doing GUI like woodworking kind of thing, you can probably do it here. We can put up tents as well. This is the multi-purpose hall. We've got one of the multi-purpose halls in. So again, there's the whole walkway. So you'll be like this whole huge area, and you can just walk all over the place, sort of thing. Everything will be lit up. We've got 5 workshop rooms. This is one of them. In fact, all the rooms in this level are workshop rooms. 5 workshop rooms, 1 presentation room for smaller presentations, and 1 big lecture hall for keynotes and forums. So use them. Sourcing for ideas. So one of the things that we want to do is we're actually putting up a spec for event management. So if you have specific requests, like I don't know, I would like to have shuttle buses, or I would like to have tables which are slightly bigger than regular or whatever it is. Let us know. The deadline for that is 4th of February. We would not promise anything, but we would try to accommodate as best as we can. Also, we would like to source for ideas. So if you have suggestions on just in general how to make the fair better. I mean, you guys shared with me that it's very walking distance from Expo, so that would help me to put the shuttle buses from the correct places. So so if you have any kind of ideas on, how do we make sure that more sustainable practices are maintained during the fair, for example, the waste is recycled properly, let us know. Also, we are looking at tracks for workshops. So last year we kind of tried that. We had forums. We had forums on education, forums on business, education, social change. So right now this year we have kind of loosely planned out an educator track, a developer track. If you have ideas for other tracks of workshops, talks, etc., feel free to throw that in. We can work it into the program. How do you make the makers, because makers are very high energy people, you guys are very enthusiastic, awesome guys. How do we make you more comfortable during this time? So just drop us an email. You've got the email address here. So just drop us an email by the 4th of Feb, especially if it's a big kind of a requirement that you think would help out. Send it in early. If not, any time would do. Earlier the better. So that's that for what I'm talking. Any comments, questions before we go for our walk?
We're very comfortable here to go home.
Let's go for a walk.
Sorry, for the benefit of few of us who missed the first few slides, can you just
Yes, of course. Good.
Thank you.
So just let me know when I have to stop, so I can. Okay. So Maker Faire dates are 25th and 26th June is the fair itself. 24th is the setup day. The call for makers is on the Maker Faire website, makerfairsingapore.com. You go there, you will find a link that says calling for makers. Just click there and follow up from there. This is a little bit on the fair itself. We have seen an exponential growth of attendees, exponential growth in number of participating makers, and the superb enthusiasm from the community, which is what makes this thing happen. A little bit of statistics on last year's fair, in terms of number of attendees and all that. Some stuff on key initiatives that Science and Singapore, but today we're just focusing on the fair. We've got pretty good feedback from participants and stuff like that, and also the profile of people coming into the fair. There's a video that I shared, but you can just YouTube it because everybody loves to watch it. Partners from last year, makers from last year, the whole bunch of